cosmic lovers, welcome back, everyone. So glad to have you back here at the show. We are stepping into one of the most powerful cosmic weeks of the month. So between August 22nd and August 28th, we have a total shift of energy from grounded mental breakthroughs to massive emotional culmination. So be sure to listen for your sun, moon, and rising signs to get the full scope on how these transits will impact your personal chart. Okay, so I always say grab your natal chart so that you have it ready for these sessions. If you don't know how to print your natal chart, I will link a video in my notes, and it will show you how to use AstroSeek so you can draw up your own natal chart to find your rising sign, sun, and moon sign. So be sure to do that. Again, I want to thank you all for coming back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. I am your astrology coach. So my goal is to let you know what the week ahead or the month ahead has to offer, what energies are out there, and how to work with those energies to make it the best week possible, right? Sometimes in astrology, we have easy transits and sometimes we have difficult transit. So if we know a difficult transit is coming, then we can help prepare for it. And I will give you some tips on how to work with that energy. Some transits are quite short and some can be longer. Like, have you ever noticed, maybe even with yourself, people tend to have mood swings, right? We're up, we're down. So chances are those people are ruled by Cancer. So if there is a Cancer rising, Cancer sun sign, the moon rules the sign of Cancer, and the moon is a very fast moving planet. So hence people that are Cancers can tend to get a lot of mood swings, right? We're up high when the moon is traveling through a good house, and we might be low when the moon is aspecting certain planets. So again, that's my lowdown. I'm going to give you an overall bell curve astrology. So that's why I do ask you to have your natal chart ready, because if you have any natal placements in any of the areas that I'm talking about today, it certainly could impact your life a little bit more. So be sure to drop any of those questions in the comments. Let me know where you're from, where are you listening from. Shout out to all of the new subscribers that just joined. Feel free to share me if you know someone else that loves talking about astrology. That's basically how I started my channel. I love astrology, and I just didn't have people to talk to about astrology. So I started this channel. Hopefully you love astrology as much as I do. Feel free, watch my videos, listen to them in the car. I often will listen to YouTube videos in the car. I have a 30-minute commute. So if you have a commute, a drive, feel free, pop me on. All right, so we are going to jump down and we will get into it. All right, so we are talking about the weekly forecast for August 22nd through August 28th. And I am calling this week the week of transformation and rebirth. All right, so like I said, make sure you get your natal chart ready. And these are some of the big events. We've had a lot of big events happening. So on August 23rd, we do have the sun enter the sign of Virgo. So this collective energy shifts from Leo, which is all about expression, being center stage, to Virgo, which is more grounded, more introspective. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So it's going to bring about, instead of being in that spotlight, some more analytical thinking. So it's time to really refine your daily routines. Good time to focus on physical wellness, organization, or just practical self-improvement. So then on the 25th, we have Mercury entering the sign of Virgo. This also is very beneficial because Mercury rules the sign of Virgo. So Mercury is very happy in the sign of Virgo. When we dive into the specific zodiac signs, I will tell a little bit more about where this impacts you in your life. So like I said, Mercury is entering its home sign. So this is going to bring about mental clarity. You can expect sharp communication here, precision if you are planning anything, and just a drive to really solve lingering problems. And Mercury is going to help you do that. On August 27th, we have the Sun conjoining Mercury with a Mercury Cazimi. That is going to really bring about awareness and highlight the specific house that this is happening in. Mercury is sitting in the heart of the Sun at its exact conjunction. So this is a moment of divine mental illumination, sudden epiphanies, major breakthroughs in understanding. And then on August 28th, we are closing the month out with a lunar eclipse and a full moon. This is happening in the sign of Pisces. We also have Mercury Square Uranus. So a little bit more about that transit. I have some notes here. So this is a book that I have. If you like learning about astrology, this is Aspects in Astrology by Sue Tompkins. And she actually has a little blurb about Mercury in Uranus. I do need to put on my reading glasses for this. All right, so this is all about free speech. It's all about education, original ideas, sudden understanding, and contrary opinions, progressive education, rebellion at school, unique communication, and speaking the truth. Do I have any teachers out there? Right? Maybe you've noticed there has been rebellion at schools. Maybe it's parents not really going with the flow, students not really going with the flow. So we could see some of this at the end of the week with this Mercury squaring Uranus. So a square usually causes more friction. So the combination of these planets can be associated with radical ideas and with individuals whose thinking may be far ahead of their time, and actually at variance with their peers. Okay, with the hard aspects, which is a square, the views and opinions held may seem extreme. So at the end of this week, you may see some of this in the news, all right? We might see people rebelling. We might see people picketing, standing up for their rights. So this is a big Mercury Uranus. Uranus is going to bring shock, rebellion. Mercury is all about problem solving and voice. So just something that we might be anticipating at the end of the week. All right, so Mercury calls for strategy and Uranus brings sudden shifts. So you could also experience some mental energy here, some anxiety. You might even come across sharp speech. Maybe you are speaking with a sharp tongue, or other people are receiving you that way. You could also see some logistical glitches and disrupted routine. So when we get into the all signs, I want you to look and see where Mercury is in your placement, because that is where you may see challenges. Mercury's, even though he's in the house, that's where you might see a little bit of a struggle. All right, let's move along. So we are going to start with Aries. Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Again, make sure you have your natal chart. Most people do listen for their sun sign. If you are over the age of 40, your sun sign you may relate more to. Your rising sign, you do have to bring up your natal chart, and that is where your ascendant is. So I typically read my sun sign and my rising sign, and they do both make sense for me. Your moon sign is going to be more about inner things that you may not show the world. Okay, so Aries, on the 23rd, we have the sun entering Virgo in your 6th house. This is the house of work, of health. Okay, so for this transit, your focus is going to shift heavily to your daily routines or your work structure or even your health habits. Then we have Mercury entering Virgo. Again, that's going to be positive because Mercury is in his home sign. So you can expect communication at work to be pretty solid. The Mercury Cazimi is going to bring a sharp realization about how you might streamline your workday or physical well-being. Okay, so that's what the sixth house is all about, your work, your habits, and your health. Then we have this Pisces lunar eclipse, this full moon, and that is happening in your 12th house. So I kind of put a little picture here on each slide. This is what I think this full moon is going to mean for you, Aries. And we're really looking at unconscious patterns, possibly some old wounds. The 12th house is a very interesting house. It has to do with the depths of the soul, right? Hidden meanings, old wounds, or secret anxieties even coming to the surface for emotional release and closure. So Aries, I want you to let go of anything that you cannot control. So the full moon in the 12th house could also be hidden information being revealed. You could also come across some very powerful, vivid dreams and messages. I want you to pay attention to that. I always recommend keeping a dream journal. Look up your dreams in the morning, write them down. There also could be some emotional releases from holding things in or a need for solitude and rest. Altogether, it could also be a stronger connection to spirituality and increased sensitivity. So that's what we have going on for you, Aries. Let me know if this resonates with you. I hope I will catch you back next week. And we also have a new month, September, coming up. So I will be looking at doing a full transit for September so that you can see what the month of September brings you. So well wishes to you, Aries. All right, we are now moving on to Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to share if there is a Taurus that you love in your life. On the 23rd, we have the Sun entering the sign of Virgo in your 5th house. The 5th house is a wonderful house. I love when anything travels through the 5th house. So it is your house of self-expression, creativity, romance, love affairs, recreation, basically all of those things that you're doing when you're not working. Fun, right? The 5th house is all about fun. So the Sun is entering your 5th house, meaning it's going to highlight that area of your life, hopefully bringing you more fun, bringing you more creativity, or spending more time with your children. So creativity, joy, romance, self-expression will light up with the Sun here. We have Mercury entering Virgo on the 25th. Mercury is in his home base here. So a brilliant idea for a creative project or a passion project could be sparked through Mercury here. Mercury here brings ideas. So creativity is really going to be amped up this week. And then we have the Mercury Cazimi, which just highlights it all for us. Okay, with the Sun and Mercury working together, it's really going to help to bring those ideas, launching projects, bring that to fruition, or maybe romance, right? You could be coming across, if you are single, more people, flirting with more people. Your communication is just going to be really good around 5th house themes. Then we have a Pisces lunar eclipse. This is happening in your 11th house. 11th house is your friends, your social network. So that's why I highlighted that for you here in your sign. I'm seeing some camaraderie here. You're doing some networking. It's a really good time for that. So massive shifts in your social circle and friend groups, or even your long-term dreams. You may step away from communities that no longer align with your future goals. So it's not only increasing your social circle, but with this full moon, it could be bringing closure to something that needs closure. All right, let me know if this resonates with you, Taurus. I hope you will tune in. We are getting ready for September, and I will be doing my full horoscope for the month of September for each zodiac sign. So be sure that you subscribe so that you can get up-to-date information. Make sure that notification bell is on, and thank you for tuning in today. Our next sign is Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. All right, so we have the Sun entering Virgo in your 4th house. That is your house of home and family. So this is going to really highlight that area of your chart, and you may have some things going on with your family, spending a lot of time with family. This is going to be a focus on family dynamics or even your emotional foundations. When Mercury enters on the 25th, Mercury's in his home base of Virgo. So maybe you are involved in problem-solving family matters. Maybe there's a family member that's struggling or having a hard time with something, and you may be swooping in to help them out, or having some important conversations or revelations about living situations that could occur all around the 27th, also during this Mercury Cazimi. All right, pay attention to signs, anything that's going on in the home, with your family, renovations. Pay attention to home matters, all right? And then we have this Pisces lunar eclipse that is happening in your 10th house, full moon on the 28th. Your 10th house is your house of career, how people see you, your public reputation. So the full moon signifies a culmination. Something is coming to an end, a closure. So a major career peak or redirection at work could be on the horizon. And eclipse in your 10th house signals stepping into public authority or even closing out an old professional chapter. All right, that's what we have going on for you this week, Gemini. Thank you for listening, and I hope you will tune in to see what's coming up next week, as well as my full September video for each zodiac sign. So make sure you are subscribed and you hit that notification bell so that you know when these videos do come out. It's always good to know what's happening in the skies. All right, we are moving on to the next sign. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. How are you doing? I am also a Cancer rising. Let's see what we've got in store for this week. All right, so on the 23rd, we have Sun entering Virgo in your 3rd house. The 3rd house is siblings, neighborhoods, and communication. Mercury is at home in Virgo, so we could be looking at using communication to problem solve anywhere in your day, all right? High mental activity. Be careful for exhaustion. Be careful for burnout. Writing is going to be easygoing. Local networking is going to be good for you this week. Sibling connections are going to be good this week. We have Mercury entering the sign of Virgo. Mercury is in his home base, so it's just going to be good for your communication, publishing, being seen. All right, people are going to listen to you when you are speaking. So let's see, we have this Cazimi that's going to bring clarity. So if you have any contracts that you are looking at or some negotiations, this is a good time for that. Any local projects that you're working on in the community, that will prove to be fruitful for you. And then we have this full moon in the 9th house. Now the 9th house has to do with your goals, your direction. It could be meaning, it could be foreign travel. This is a whole realm. So that's why when I talk about this is bell curve astrology. It's always good to have your natal chart there so you know what's being activated in your natal chart. So with this Pisces lunar eclipse, full moon, you could be seeing shifts around higher education, your belief systems, publishing, or long distance plans. Is work sending you someplace foreign, or are you planning a big trip somewhere out of the country? Philosophical realignments could push you out of your comfort zone. So it's okay if you get pushed, right? You may need to step out of your comfort zone a bit, but remember this full moon is all about closure, culmination of something. So if there was some place that you wanted to go or something that you wanted to study, I say go ahead and do it. Dive into it this week. Let me know what's happening for you, Cancers. Thank you for listening. I hope you will tune in next week when we see what's happening next week. I also have my full September videos for each zodiac sign. Make sure you are subscribed and hit the notification bell so that you will get notifications as soon as I put videos out. If there's a Cancer in your life, please be sure to share this video with them. And thanks for tuning in. I hope I'll see you back here next week. Our next sign here is Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. How are you doing, Leos? You've had a lot of action in your first house and your second house going on. So let's see what's happening for you this week. On the 23rd, you have the Sun entering Virgo in your second house. Your second house has to do with finances, has to do with your self-worth. How do you see yourself? Are you selling yourself enough? Because with the Sun and Mercury in your second house, this is a really good time to sell yourself. Know your worth. Okay, so your income, your personal finances, and material values are going to take the center stage here. So maybe you are involved in selling things. You will be very fruitful if that's what you choose to do. With Mercury entering the sign on the 25th, you could also receive key news of financial breakthroughs midweek. So watch your stocks, watch your investments. Hopefully you will see something good there. All right, so it will be news of things coming in. I'm not saying necessarily it's a good time to invest, but it could be a good time to invest. Watch your stocks and see what they do. On the 28th, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. We've got the Cazimi. So with this Cazimi happening on the 27th, we've got the Sun and Mercury highlighted in your second house. I might say go ahead and buy a lottery ticket on that day. I can't guarantee that every Leo is going to win. So play small, play happily. But hey, with a Cazimi in your second house, I wouldn't pass up the opportunity. That is happening on the 27th. On the 28th, we have a full moon in your 8th house. Your 8th house has to do with your taxes, your inheritances, insurance, shared resources. And I'm laughing because I just told you to buy a lottery ticket on the 27th, and then the 28th, we have this full moon in your house of shared resources. So if you win the lottery, be careful who you're sharing that money with, right? It just kind of makes sense. It's an interesting take, all right? So that is happening on the 28th. So this could mean some emotional or financial entanglements or shared debts with people or deep psychological shifts in a dramatic climax, okay? So if you are going to play the lottery or gamble, don't gamble a lot. Do it happily, small risks. If you win, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. All right, let's move on to the next sign. And that is Virgo. All right, Virgo, how are you doing? Sun, moon, and rising. So we have a lot of action that's happening in your first house, right? And happy birthday to you, right? The sun moves into the sign of Virgo. That means we are approaching birthdays for all of you Virgo suns. So yes, on the 23rd, the sun moves into your first house. This puts you at the center stage. All right, and then Mercury will join Virgo. Mercury is going to make you thoughtful. Mercury is going to make you analytical. So the sun and Mercury in your sign are going to just charge your identity, charge your vitality and your personal voice. It feels wonderful for you, Virgo, this week. The August 27th Cazimi in your first house, this is going to be like a personal reset. This is your shift, right? If there's something you've been wanting to do, this is your culmination. This is your time to shine, launch that project. Whatever you've been wanting to do it, Virgo. Just do it, okay? And then in your 7th house, we have this Pisces lunar eclipse. Now, the 7th house is all about partnerships, legal contracts. It's the house of marriage. So let's see what's on the horizon for you. If you're single, are you taking that relationship to the next level? This is going to be a turning point, a culmination. A full moon signals a culmination, right? So this is a turning point in your one-on-one relationships or business partnerships. You might see old dynamics dissolve to make room for more balanced connections. It may be you taking the next step in your relationship, or it might be saying goodbye to a relationship that's not working. However, this eclipse and full moon will be highlighting something in the house of relationships. So let me know in the comments if you have a big celebration coming up soon. All right, let's move on to the next sign. Let me show my little video. Yep. Okay. All right, we've got Libra up next. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Libras, are you sleeping well? Are you exhausted? How are you feeling about work? All right, well, we are going to start by talking about what's happening on the 23rd. And this is the sun entering the sign of Virgo in your 12th house. So the 12th house is the subconscious. The 12th house are things that are hidden, things that are being revealed. So this can bring about a deeply quiet, introspective transit that is encouraging rest, solitude. This could bring about subconscious healing, all right, before your solar return season begins. So, like I said, it's just going to make you want to retreat, slow things down. Mercury entering your 12th house is quite interesting because I think of the 12th house as the great beyond. So when I have Mercury traveling through my 12th house, I pay attention to dreams. Are people trying to reach out to you that are no longer in this world? You could be opening yourself up to that if you would like to. Now, with the Mercury Cazimi happening on the 27th, that is a definite possibility because it is in your 12th house, the house of subconscious. So pay attention to your gut this week. What is your gut telling you? You're probably trying to get signs. All right, so be aware of all of those inner house themes. That's the 27th with the Cazimi. Really pay attention to your thoughts, to your dreams that day. All right, then on the 28th, we have this full moon and eclipse happening in your 6th house. 6th house is your house of work. It's your house of health, your house of habits. Full moon is all about closure. So you could see sudden shifts in your daily work demands or health habits. An eclipse here can force you to let go of unsustainable routines, right? Are you burning yourself out? That's why you got that 12th house theme going on, all right? So completion of a work project, something in work is coming to a closure, or you are deciding to put your health first and start a health regimen, or maybe you've been working really hard, you are finally seeing the results. This could bring about a desire to be healthier. So pay close attention to your health with this full moon in your 6th house. Be aware, bring awareness to your mind and body connection. And that's why I chose this video for you, Libra, because it's someone in the dark, 12th house, working, just figure out what it is you need to do to really get solid with yourself, understand yourself. I'm getting a lot of self-care vibes here. Take care of yourself, Libra. Don't burn out. Thank you for tuning in. If you know and love a Libra, feel free to share this video. I hope you will like, subscribe, and hit the notification so that you get up-to-date information as soon as I put out a video. You don't want to get caught in the dark here. And I do have my full September all sign videos that will be coming out soon, so watch for those. And let's move on to the next sign. Our next sign is Scorpio. Hello, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. How are you doing? Are things going well at work? I know last week we talked a lot about things happening at work. Now we are moving on to some social groups, to some creativity happening for you this week. So on the 23rd, we have the sun entering Virgo. This is your 11th house. Your 11th house are your friend circles, your social groups, your networks, your vision. So this is a great time to be among people. With the sun here, it's going to highlight you within your social circles, right? Maybe people will be flocking to you or inviting you to more things. We have Mercury entering on the 25th, which is just going to amplify that more. Mercury is at home in the sign of Virgo. Maybe you are helping your social groups to problem solve or bring an idea to fruition. It's an excellent week to be hosting meetings or launching any community initiatives. Then we have this Cazimi that's happening on the 27th. This is where Mercury is sitting in the heart of the sun. So really watch for messages, emails. If someone's inviting you to something, pay close attention to it. And I would not be afraid to get out there and do that thing that people invite you to do on the 27th. All right. You might just get that invitation, but watch for those hidden messages and dreams. Anything your friends are trying to tell you. All right. On the 28th, we have a full moon. That is happening in your 5th house. Your 5th house is a wonderful house of children, fun, creativity, recreation, hobbies. The full moon is going to bring a culmination here. So is there a seed that you started at the last Pisces new moon? All right, you can go back. That's why I always say, write down your manifestations at a new moon, because this is a good time to bring closure to those things. So this could be an emotional release around romance, creative projects, or self-expression. A creative project could reach fruition, or you might see romantic boundaries shift. This could also be something with your children. Maybe your children are going off to college or meeting a new milestone. I know many are going off to school very soon if they haven't yet, so that certainly will be coming as well. But a full moon can bring a turning point for a romantic relationship, for any deep emotions, love affair. A spiritualistic or artistic awakening could also be on the horizon. But again, your intuition is going to be heightened around this time, involving families or loved ones, all right? And we also have this Mercury Square Uranus that I talked about in the intro. So your Mercury is here in your 11th house, and it is squaring Uranus. So you might see some sudden shifts, unexpected things happening in your networking or group. So let me know if any of this resonates for you, Scorpio. I would love to hear about it in the comments. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you will like and subscribe and hit those notifications so that you get notified of all of my upcoming videos. I do have a full September horoscope that will be coming out soon. That's 30 minutes on each zodiac sign. So I hope you will tune in for that. And we are moving on to the next sign, which is Sagittarius. All right, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. It is all about your family and your career this week. Okay, so we have on the 23rd, sun is entering Virgo. This is your 10th house of career and public reputation. So your professional ambitions, your reputation, career moves, they dominate. They are highlighted this week. You are being recognized. You're getting that recognition that you deserve. And especially with Mercury entering Virgo on the 25th, it's going to help you be a problem solver at work, right? You are going to be the one that people go to when they need something or they need help. All right, so watch for that. And then we have this Cazimi on the 27th also happening in your house of career. So this Cazimi can bring you major career news and amp up your public reputation. I hope it's a good thing, right? Sun and Mercury, they are benefics. Mercury is in his home base, so it looks to be good for me looking ahead for this week. On the 28th, we have this full moon and eclipse that's happening in your 4th house. This is your house of family. All right, so deep emotional realignments regarding your home life, your family obligations, or your personal sanctuary. You may find yourself relocating or just redefining your roots, your foundation, getting back to the home. You may even feel nostalgic, but this full moon is going to bring a culmination of events, okay? It's closing a chapter to move on to the next chapter. So we want to release anything having to do with 4th house matters. Let it go. It is okay. So the full moon can bring a family matter to the forefront. Like I said, it could bring changes to a living situation, a desire to connect with family, or even a need to just establish social connections with your family. You may also have a child leaving home or returning home, or you may find yourself having to care for a family member. So let me know how this resonates with you, Sagittarius. I hope you will tune in again next week. And I do have my full videos that will be coming out for the September horoscope. So be sure to hit like, subscribe, and get those notifications so you are up to date when my new videos come out. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you back here again. Our next sign is Capricorn. All right, Capricorn, so we have the sun entering Virgo. That is your 9th house. This is your house of higher learning, of travel, of teaching, and legal matters. So we can expect this area of your chart to be highlighted, especially when Mercury also enters this house on the 25th. So Mercury is going to be bringing some problem-solving capabilities, some communication. So if you are learning, this is a great time to be learning, to be communicating. So big insights regarding your long-range plans will come through clearly. So if you've been unsure about going back and learning something, Mercury is going to help bring clarity, especially with this Cazimi happening in your 9th house on the 27th. So watch for messages, watch for downloads, anything that has to do with those 9th house themes, foreign travel, law. Things are going to play out in your benefit here because Mercury is in his home base. All right, he's very happy. This is his house and he enjoys the sun. So like I said, it's just going to brighten up that area of your chart. Now on the 28th, we are ending the week with a full moon and an eclipse in your 3rd house. So 3rd house also is all about communication. So this week you can expect some communication breakthroughs or some shifting of perspectives. Or maybe you are even closing out a project that involves your local community, media, or siblings. So the full moon can bring an important conversation that might change a perspective or news that you've been waiting for. It can also bring about greater intuition. Vivid dreams can provide insight, so pay attention to those dreams, write them down. This is going to clear up confusion for you. Keep in mind, you also have this Mercury squaring Uranus also on the 28th. So with Mercury being in your 9th house, you may see some friction on the 28th regarding those things. So yes, the start of the week, your 9th house is looking good and positive, but by the end of the week, Those themes might get a little itchy, a little scratchy. So just pay attention. Mercury does move fast, so this transit is not going to last very long. All right, let's move on to the next sign. Is Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. Thank you for tuning in. All right, so on the 23rd, we have the sun entering Virgo for you. This is in your 8th house. Your 8th house is your shared resources, inheritances. It's money that you get that is not from a job, money from a spouse. So the sun is here. It's going to highlight this. Maybe your spouse is getting a bonus. Maybe you're getting a bonus. It's money that you haven't expected. This also is the house of intimacy and a deep transformation. So Mercury also enters this house on the 25th, which could bring about news, bring about problem solving. So really be sure to look at your shared assets that you might have with a partner. This can bring about some clarity regarding financial agreements and joint endeavors. All right, so pay attention to those shared resource themes this week. Now, at the end of the week on the 28th, we have a full moon that's happening in your 2nd house of money and finances. So this full moon is a culmination. Did you sow the seed at the new moon in Pisces that you would win money? Because if you did, there's a possibility it might come to fruition, but only if you started that seed at the new moon. All right, so you got to pay attention to your new moons and your full moons. Always write down your manifestations in a log. So this can bring about a major financial pivot or a shift in your personal resources and your own self-worth. So one stream of revenue may close as a new path opens, right? A full moon is a culmination. It's the ending of a cycle. So something's going to close while something opens. All right, so if any of this resonates with you, please let me know in the comments. I hope you will like and subscribe. Share this with an Aquarius that you love in your life, or anyone that you think needs to hear this. Keep in mind, I will be putting out my full September horoscopes for each sign. So if you are getting those notifications, you will know when they come out and how to work with this energy. All right, let's move on to my last sign, which is Pisces. All right, Pisces, welcome to your week. How's it going, Pisces? All right, on the 23rd, we have the sun that is entering Virgo in your 7th house. This is your house of relationships. We are going to see a heavy emphasis on your committed partnerships this week or your clients. With Mercury entering Virgo on the 25th, that's going to include some crucial conversations with those partners and with those relationships. All right, so pay attention to what your significant other or your partner may be trying to tell you. You're getting some signs this week in that house. All right, on the 27th, we have our Mercury Cazimi also happening in that house. So again, watch for messages, signs, crucial conversations. All right, this is a Cazimi. So Mercury is sitting in this son of the throne in his house. It's a very good week for this. It's a good week for communicating with your partners. It's a good week for learning more about your partners or problem solving through any relationship things that may be going on. On the 28th, we do have a full moon and an eclipse, which is happening in your 1st house of you. So this is a major eclipse happening in your sign. So this can bring about a massive personal transformation if that is something that you've been wanting, something you've been asking for. This is a time to shed an old identity and step into a new life path, to embrace your next true chapter. So get your vision board ready. Know what you want, because this is a good time to get it. All right, always journal, write what you want. Okay, Pisces, I hope this resonated with you. Be sure to like and subscribe. I will be putting out my full September horoscope for each zodiac sign. So if you hit that notification bell, you will know when those things are coming. All right, so This week is really asking us to balance Virgo's logic with Pisces' intuitive release. So embrace the clarity of the Cazimi that's happening on the 27th and allow the eclipse on the 28th to purge what no longer serves you. All right, so let me know. Drop your sun, moon, and rising sign, any one of those in the comments below. Let me know who's listening, because those are the videos I'm going to put out first, right? Whoever watches the most of my monthly horoscope videos, I'm going to start with them first. I do appreciate you watching. Be sure to share this with anyone that you know that loves astrology. Like I said, bring me to the car with you. Listen on your commute. And thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate every one of you, and have a great week.